Lindsay, how do you feel about adventure?
Oh, I'm super excited about adventure. I am very pro adventure.
What if, Shane, you could choose your adventures?
I would like to choose an adventure.
I'm realizing right now that this is kind of misleading because there is a choose your own adventure game and that is not what we're here to play. But there's no going back now.
Yeah, heaven forbid we start over.
No starting over.
Great.
Ryan, we are here to play Legacy of Dragonholt.
Oh. I thought we were here to play Monopoly.
Surprise! This is a much better game.
Oh yeah, we assume. We've actually never played this before, but this is Fantasy Flight's RPG light-ish adventure game set in the realm of Terrinoth. We are going to be, really the way it recommends you learn it is as you go, so we'll be learning it on camera and you can learn along with us. Ryan, want to start us off telling us what character you'll be playing?
Oh, sure. My character is No Name. He is an elf, wildlander, age 19. He is the epitome of tall guy having great day. No Name has lived his life in the wilds of Terrinoth, fording rivers, scaling mountains, and killing bad guys in an effort to earn that which has always escaped him, a name.
Nice. Tell us about your personality, too.
He's strong and confident on the exterior, but he's on the brink of a full-blown existential crisis.
I don't want him on my team anymore.
It's too late.
Can a nameless life be a life worth living? Would a rose by no name at all spell as sweet? Shit's bleak, but he looks good. And physically, he looks like Legolas.
I am playing Thrand Landowner, the human bard. The Terrinoth guide, or the character creation guide, said humans are often named after their family traits, so I'm a spoiled brat whose family just owns land.
It's the life.
That's a life. As a wealthy child, Thrand's parents sent him away to bardic boarding school. Now with nothing better to do and no other skills, he has started a band and performs throughout Terrinoth for the few willing to listen. His personality and ideals: he's desperate for attention and frustrated whenever the spotlight is not on him. He's out adventuring to find material for new and better songs. We had the option to add a quote that fit the character, and his is "Only shooting stars break the mold."
I feel like 35 is pretty old to be a spoiled brat, so hopefully you will grow into your character as time goes on.
35-year-old spoiled brats are the worst kind. That is why I chose that age.
Perfect.
Thrand is tall with olive skin and blonde hair that he insists is his natural color. And he carries his very expensive magical theremin everywhere he goes.
I hope it has wheels.
It does not. Are they big? Are
they're
theremins
big.
big?
Yeah.
It's enchanted. It can be whatever size you want.
I learned what a theremin was right before doing this. I had no idea.
I don't think it's that big.
Wheels.
It's just like this, and you do.
Yeah, it's not big, but you want it like on a stand, I feel like.
We'll find a rock.
Okay.
We're going on an adventure.
It's magical. Maybe it's super light. I wear it on a strap.
Or it
around my
floats.
neck.
Okay.
It could
Yeah.
float. You don't know.
Shane, who are you?
I am Zadie Redbeard. I am a dwarf sage who is 87, which is a prime of one's life for a dwarf. He left the dwarven city a half century ago and has dedicated his life to understanding the history of the natural world. He is skilled and self-sufficient, and he is currently learning craftsmanship, but he's getting kind of old and grumpy. So my quote is, never half-ass two things, whole-ass one thing. So my character is a bit of a Ron Swanson-esque character.
Love it.
In spite of his surname being Redbeard, he is actually black-bearded with gray hair, and he's so hairy and grizzled that he's been confused by catfolk on more than one occasion. So...
I'm a catfolk.
Lindsay, who are you?
I'm Jinx the catfolk. I'm a thief, and I am 23 years old. As a half catfolk, Jinx was abandoned at a young age and has learned to fend for herself for much of her life. She uses others to get what she needs, but otherwise rarely lets people get close, and she now lives alone on the outskirts of town. Her personality is that she is quiet, cunning, and introverted, but easily distracted by bright colors and feathers and bells, and she loves naps. Her quote is, "You're catnip to a girl like me, handsome, dazed, and to die for." And her physical description is that she's short, she has gray skin and dark hair with long claws, short ears, and a long curl tail. She also always wears a pink choker around her neck.
This is basically a perfect example of you, a perfect description of you in
Yes,
real life.
exactly. I
Yeah.
always wear a pink choker.
Yep. You can't see it on video.
Okay. Let's hit the road. The first adventure is called To New Roads, which we'll be playing today. Again, we haven't really learned the rules of this game, but this promised us that the rules would be interspersed in the adventure, so we'll hopefully figure out what we're doing as we go.
Hopefully.
It says, it starts with a little box about boxes. So I'm gonna skip that. I think I know what a sidebar is. Here we go. You slump down on the wooden bench, stretching your legs. You have been traveling for nearly a week now toward a small village called Dragonholt. Your journey is at the request of Celise, a former adventuring companion and friend, who has since found her calling as a tutor to the children of Countess Regina Fairfax, Lady of Dragonholt. You take a moment to reread the letter, and then it actually says, read the letter from Celise, which I pulled out of the box. It is sealed with wax. Please refer to my first letter, it says on the back. Who wants to do the honors? Reading us the letter. All right.
Do your best lady voice impression.
You mean as a lady?
That would be funnier if it was not a lady
My
reading it.
friend. No. My friend, I pray this letter finds you in good health for...
Once.
Oh, for... No, that's not. It's O-C-N-E.
Well, yeah, but she also misspelled pray. So this is a pretty... I think it's kind of ironic that she's a teacher and yet she can't spell pray or once.
Okay, that's weird. Okay. My friend, I pray this letter finds you in good health for once because I need you to travel. As you might have heard, I have taken a position as a tutor in the house of Lady Regina Fairfax, Countess of Dragonholt, just outside the village. I elected to take this position because I hope for some peace and quiet after all that business in Nericall. Had I known what my future held, I would have done something else entirely. Lady Regina's 3 children are more than lively enough to deny me anything resembling peace or quiet. Even now that they are mainly grown, I remain very busy. But I do not write to complain about my lot in life. As you know, I never complain, even when the so-called dwarven wine is very obviously an inferior human vintage. Again.
Damn straight.
Or when my very cloak, the blue one, is stained by some drunken lush spilling his wine. Elves should really stay out of human taverns. I write to you because I fear something sinister is at work here in Dragonholt, and I require your assistance. I dare not say more openly, as I think it is likely this message will be intercepted. I can trust no one here to help me with this matter. After all that business in Nericall, I have only you and a small handful of other allies left. Please help me. There is more at stake than you know. Celise. And also, this is spelled terribly.
So, if this is a choose your own adventure, I would like to choose not to help her. She seems quite rude, frankly.
She really does.
And kind of racist, I think.
Yeah, honestly, why don't we stay home and take a nap?
Yeah, she'd love
End
that.
of game!
Fiend, we win.
Racist tutors are one of my favorite things to write songs about.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I'd say we go. All right, this continues. You are uncertain why Celise has summoned you to Dragonholt. Her letter is strange, speaking only of a vague threat that requires your assistance. And although you are sure the letter was written in her hand, the message contains several details that you find uncharacteristic of the elf you had adventured with in the past. You had never known Celise to drink dwarven wine, and you would swear she always wore a green cloak. It is not unthinkable that her preferences have changed over the years, but something about the way the message is written makes you feel there is more to the letter than is obvious.
Probably all those misspellings.
It sounds like it. It's very astute that she's a tutor. It was a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
You have always known Celise to be excessively proper in her speaking. She must have been in a panic when writing to have produced so many spelling errors. Even more alarming is the brief note on the back of the letter, which, was this one that said, please refer to my first letter. You had not received any word from Celise before this one. Could she have sent another letter that was intercepted, as she had feared? Regardless of the vagueness of her request, you owe Celise at least this much after that business in Nericall. As the tutor in the employ of a countess, she may be in a position to reward you handsomely for any assistance you can render. Excuse me, is this road the fastest way to Dragonholt? You look up from the letter to see Miriam, a gnome merchant you've been traveling with, talking to another traveler and pointing down a path toward a forbidding-looking forest. Aye, if you're going to Dragonholt, you'll have to go through the Eventide Forest. Ain't no way around it. About a day's travel straight through. Miriam thanks the traveler, and he continues on his way in the direction opposite the forest. You fold the letter and stow it away before standing. It won't do to rest for too long. You sling your baggage over your shoulder and prepare to resume your travels. Miriam turns to face you. Well, what are we waiting for? If that's the road to Dragonholt, let's be off. Miriam has been traveling with you for some 3 days now. Like you, she is traveling to Dragonholt, and, as she put it when you met, the more the merrier. We should proceed with caution, calls Braxton from behind you. The orc woman hefts Miriam's bag off the ground where the gnome had left it and drops it into Miriam's open arms. Rumor has it there are bandits who make camp in these woods. We should watch our backs as we pass through. Since meeting Miriam and the orc knight-errant, you have... Orc knight-errant? Knight-errant?
I have no idea.
Yes.
I've seen that word before, but I've never really known how to say it.
Knight errant sounded right to me.
Okay. Since meeting Miriam and the orc knight-errant, you have found Braxton to be the more cautious of the pair by a wide margin. As far as you can tell, Miriam has hired Braxton for protection, but at times the orc seems to dote on the gnome more than a bodyguard would. You nod in agreement at Braxton's comment. With a last fleeting glance at the crossroads signpost, you follow after the energetic gnome who has already started off toward Eventide Forest. Okay, there's a decision to be made here. The decision options are, let's make some headway before we lose the light. What else have you heard about these bandits? Or stick close, Miriam, it's dangerous to get separated. So basically we can take our turns in any order, but all four of us need to make a decision, and then it refreshes and all four of us can make another decision, and so on. Oh, and it says, when you make a decision, then until further notice, the word you in the text replies to you, to that person. So if it says you lose stamina, it's the person who made the decision leading up to that point. So who would like to make this first decision? Are we resting for a while? Are we asking about the bandits?
I would make headway for the light.
That's what I was thinking too.
Okay.
That's actually what I would do.
I like it.
It's like that James Bond movie.
That sounds like you made the decision, so flip that token.
You did.
Boom.
You're exhausted, and you are going to read entry.
Man, I'm going to take a rest.
Read entry 2883. You're going to have
Okay.
to turn some pages.
We're going to make headway before we lose the light. Further down the road, Miriam turns to call out, "Hurry along, Braxton, or you'll be left behind." You hustle forward to catch up to the gnome and keep pace with her. Braxton falls in just behind you. I understand your enthusiasm, but we must take our time once we enter the forest, or we may become lost. Mark story point 1.
There is this story tracking sheet where we just make check marks in certain boxes, and that's so the story can refer back to things that have happened. It was 01? They're all a letter and a number.
Yep, 01 or 01.
Don't click the pen.
All right.
All right. And then there's two choices here. Let me go back to the question since it's been a minute. I understand your enthusiasm, but we must take our time once we enter the forest, or we may become lost. The choices are, we'll be fine as long as we stick to the road, or do the rumors about bandits have any merit?
I feel like this is the second time bandits have been brought up.
Yeah.
We should probably
like it
start
wants us
asking
to ask
about
that.
bandits.
But you know what? I kind of just want to stick to the roads.
Well, you already made your
I know, you
decision,
guys
so-
gotta, I'm just weighing in.
But are any of us really thoughtful people? I mean, if just going
Not
based
me.
on my character sheet, I think I feel pretty self-sufficient. So I couldn't, in good conscience and playing to my character, ask about those bandits.
Would you like to choose we'll be fine as long as we stick to the road then?
I don't know that we are, but as a tough, grizzled old dwarf, I have to say that.
You should have as a tough, grizzled old dwarf. You should have confidence in your confidence in your decisions.
Yes!
Never trust a red beard.
We'll be fine as long as we stick to the road. Read entry 8828.
I want that voice at all times. Read entry 8828.
I hope you're right, says Braxton, bringing up the rear of your little group. Braxton is a bit of a worrywart, says Miriam. She is also very slow for someone with such long legs. Miriam skips forward and back, taking 6 steps for every one of Braxton's. You wonder where the gnome gets all her energy. Mark story point A1.
A1. All right.
Read entry 1340. This is like a choose your own adventure novel.
Yeah, complete with all the flipping back and forth between
Yeah,
pages.
it's very scrambled.
As you speak with your traveling companions, small trees begin to dot the terrain around you. Tall grass gives way to brush, and you soon find yourself at the edge of the forest. Time passes. And now there's a box, the passage of time. Throughout your adventures, you will track the passage of time on the tracking sheet for the current quest. Each unit of time represents an abstract amount of time that could be anything from a few minutes to multiple hours, depending on the current quest. When the time passes, mark one box of time with a check mark or an X. Some effects in future entries will reference how much time has passed or if a specific amount of time has passed.
So the slightly annoying thing is the place to track that time is on the back of this booklet. So you'll need to flip to We
That seems quite
We
silly.
can tear it out.
All right.
Yeah, would we damage it if we tore it out?
I think that there's text
Yeah,
on the
we
other
don't.
side.
We don't want to.
All right. Time passed. As you walk, you take the chance to become better acquainted with your fellow travelers. We have two options. Ask Miriam what she plans to do in Dragonholt, and ask Braxton what she plans to do in Dragonholt.
Oh, Braxton's a woman. That subverted my patriarchal expectations.
It introduced her as an orc woman.
Oh, I missed that.
Well, that's
She's. I'm picturing Bryn. This Bryn of Tarth. This whole time.
all right. Well, we've got two people who have their tokens unreplenished, so
I want to know. Actually, it sounded like you wanted to know more about the orc.
I'm fine either way. I guess my thought is the orc is there just for Miriam, right? Like it's Miriam's protector, so I feel like Miriam's gonna have the more interesting.
Protector, but it sounds like they're a little affectionate for each
Yeah, I
other.
thought so too. But well, I feel like
Alright.
Miriam is the one that's driving their trip to Dragonholt, and Braxton's just there because of Miriam. So I feel like Miriam's trip is going to be the more interesting one.
Okay, I was actually going to say that too. I just expect you to disagree with me.
Okay.
But it sounds like we're on the same page. Would you like to?
Sure. So mark entry point E7,
E7, got it.
and then read 3759. I'm glad you asked, bubbles Miriam. I'm going to set up the first apothecary shop that Dragonholt has ever seen. I'll brew potions and sell remedies and make lots of money. She nods, tossing a vial of pink liquid into the air, catching it, and balancing it on her finger for no particular reason. My aunt can help me get started. She already runs the best inn in town, and she's a fantastic tailor, too. Miriam flourishes her half cape and brightly colored tunic. All right, we got a lot of options this time. So we can ask Miriam what type of potion she brews, ask her about her family, exchange brewing recipes with her, compliment Miriam's attire and inquire about its maker, tell Miriam what you know of Dragonholt's markets, or educate Miriam on methods for barter and trade.
So a bunch of these
Wow.
have skill requirements.
Oh, yeah.
And since you're making the decision, we've got.
So exchange brewing recipes with Miriam I don't think we can do because none of us are alchemy. Compliment Miriam's attire and inquire about its maker requires either craftsmanship or empathy. Tell her what you know of Dragonhold's markets is either history or streetwise.
I am streetwise.
And then educate her on barter or trade is either persuasion or streetwise. And then the first two, asking her about the type of potions she brews and her families don't require any skills.
I think I'm going to educate her about the markets.
That's the last one.
You talk Miriam through several strategies for ensuring a good price for her supplies and setting her own prices for clients. This would be easier if I had a clear idea what my expenses will be, muses Miriam. Aunt Sappy told me there's a place I can buy where the last apothecary used to keep his shop. It'll be all human-sized, of course, but I can manage. But I don't know how much it will cost or if I'll need to take a loan. Miriam sighs. Ugh, I can figure this stuff out later. Keep your eyes peeled for shrinking violet. It likes to grow in forests like these. Mark story points H1 and Z2.
Is this story just about how we help Miriam open and start her own business?
I assumed that this story would be about adventuring through a forest, but it might be.
It's just about starting a small business.
Depends on what your definition of adventuring through a forest is.
I guess so. That's true. My definition was not helping set up an apothecary stand, but
Well, all of our
what do I know? Now it says, if 2 or more time has passed, read entry 7094, but you told us to mark one time for, and that's it? Okay. Otherwise, read entry 7616. You continue down the road, and the sky overhead is soon obscured by the foliage of the forest canopy. Streams of sunlight dance around you as a gentle breeze shakes the leafy ceiling. Miriam skips forward and spins through the shafts of light, smiling and laughing. It would be best if you stayed close. Becoming lost in the woods is all too common for those not accustomed to traveling without the sun or the moon to guide them. Despite the orc's warning, Braxton makes no additional effort to keep pace with the playful gnome. It tells us to read something if story point N3 is marked, and it is not. So we're going to read 7094 next. What about you, asks Miriam. What are you planning to do in Dragonholt? Before you can answer, she hunches over and crooks one finger like a sinister hook, putting a sneer into her voice. Are you seeking vengeance on a terrible foe? Just as quickly she swoons, throwing one hand artfully over her forehead. Or are you in search of love? Miriam tumbles backward over a log with a squawk.
Do it.
Squawk! She grins up at you from a pile of leaves. She grins up at you from a pile of sticks and leaves. Or maybe it's just a chance encounter. Continues to talk about everything and nothing before finally pausing for breath. It's time for another decision, and since now we've all made a decision and exhausted our token, we all flip them back over, and anyone can make this decision. The options are ask Miriam about Eventide Forest, ask Miriam how she met Braxton, or ask Miriam about gnomes. Who feels chatty?
I say you make it.
You want me to go twice in a row?
Yep.
Okay, I want to know about Braxton.
Braxton.
Yeah, Braxton seems like a fascinating character. 3686. Miriam starts laughing before she even begins her story about meeting Braxton. Well, first of all, whatever Braxton tells you, I wasn't drunk, says Miriam.
That means she was drunk.
She says she wasn't.
Yeah. No, I know.
We've all said that.
I have strong social skills, and I believe her. But we did both get thrown out of the same tavern together. It was a good night. I remember it rather differently, says Braxton. Well, that's because you're no fun, Miriam winks at you. You see, Braxton is a wet blanket, but she keeps following me around because secretly she knows that she would never do anything exciting if she didn't. Also, you pay me to keep you safe, says Braxton. Also that, exclaims Miriam with a broad smile. If 2 or more time has passed, we read an entry. There still hasn't. So otherwise, we read entry 3859. Eventide Forest is an intimidating landmark, and you can see why Braxton was concerned. Within an hour of entering the forest, the thin young trees give way to ancient gnarled guardians. The light leafy canopy transforms into an oppressive shroud that cloaks the road in darkness, even during the most sunny of days. Time passes. Here's time number 2. But this continues. In the darkness of Eventide Forest, a chilling stillness reigns, and even bird songs are drowned out by silence. You continue onward, Miriam's usual banter quieted by her new mood, 1 part fascination and 1 part fear. Braxton keeps an ever-vigilant eye on the surroundings, her hand now resting on the pommel of the blade at her waist. You soon come to a stop when you catch up to Miriam. She is glancing down at what appears to be a small game trail that branches away from the main road. Up ahead, you see that a number of fallen trees are blocking your path. An old crossroads signpost marks the split, but the wood is too rotted and the writing is indecipherable. What do we do now? It doesn't seem like Lady Regina has been alerted yet. Braxton strains to look over the fallen trees. It doesn't seem like Lady Regina has been alerted yet. Braxton strains to look over the fallen trees. We could clear the road ourselves or send word to Lady Regina once we reach Dragonholt. We could try this trail, offers Miriam. Maybe it connects to the main road on the other side. All right, one of you has to make this decision. Scout along the game trail and report back, climb over the trees and continue on the main road, or clear the road of debris before continuing.
I feel like scouting that side road is just a bad idea. Because we're separating ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did warn us not to separate ourselves.
And it's all dark.
True.
So I would vote for one of the other 2 options.
What was the other 2?
We can either climb over the trees that are blocking the path and continue on the main road, or we can clear the road of debris before continuing.
I don't really get why we would. I feel like that's more time in the forest.
Just climb.
Yeah.
Okay. Who wants to be the official decision maker on this?
Brian, I feel like you just made that decision.
Okay.
I'll climb.
You are reading entry 4184.
All right. Climbing over the fallen trees proves more difficult than you expected.
Cool.
It looked easy. It seems that one enormous tree fell and brought several others with it, resulting in an extensive tangle of branches. Many of the trees that collapsed were dead, and their branches have a tendency to break off with a sharp crack when subjected to the slightest weight. Others are still fully leafed, making it very difficult to see where you're going. We should proceed carefully, says Braxton. These trees must weigh several tons. If the pile shifts unexpectedly, we could be crushed. Time passes.
Yeah, you can mark an X there. I was going to say, as an elf wildlander, you should be great at this, but if Braxton is coming with...
maybe not so much.
It's all
Not so
her
much.
fault.
You each lose 1 stamina. You each lose 1 additional stamina unless you have an athletic skill. So 1 to 2 stamina. Should we just
I
tally
think
it?
everybody has
How
2.
does-
I don't think anybody has.
I have athletics.
Oh, you do?
So you only lose 1.
I lose 1.
So one of the options was to clear this debris. These trees weigh several tons. How are we gonna clear this debris?
We didn't
That
know how
option
much it
seemed
weighed.
insane.
Probably would have screwed us if we picked it.
I figured it was going to make like 4 time pass or something insane.
Oh, maybe.
Should we also specify for the record that we all started out with 12 stamina?
Oh, that's not that bad an idea. For the record, you're very lawyery.
For the record, we all started off with 12 stamina, I think.
I object!
Hearsay.
Overruled.
You're bartering the witness.
Bartering?
Badgering.
Yeah, whatever. Okay. After a few missteps and undignified squawks.
So many squawks in
She
this
squawks
game.
a lot. Miriam grudgingly consents to let Braxton lift her over the worst of the pile. We all have our talents, says Braxton at Miriam's disgruntled expression. Mine happens to be lifting heavy things.
Rude.
I am not that heavy, huffs Miriam. Not even by gnome standards. Braxton laughs and hauls her down from her perch, finally reaching the road again on the far side of the blockage. Mark story point D6,
Got it.
and then read entry 8557, which is nowhere near this section.
It's a lot of jumping around, I think,
Yeah.
so that you can't see what your
Yeah.
option, what happens.
That makes
Yeah,
sense.
it's smart because I like to
Cheat.
look at the big paragraphs and be like, I want that one.
Your eye wanders a little bit.
8557. After following the winding road for what feels like hours, you begin to fear that you are traveling in circles. Just as you are about to suggest turning back, Miriam calls out from beyond the next bend, "There's a clearing up here." As you round the bend, you see Miriam staring up at a single massive tree that stands alone in the center of the clearing, some 20 paces across. Although the great oak's canopy is just as thick as anywhere else in the forest, its branches reach well above the tops of the surrounding trees, affording you a view of the sky at the edges of the clearing. If 3 or more time has passed,
Which it has.
3549. It's been a while since we made a choice, but probably this is one.
You just read for the rest of the game.
All right, here we go. 3549. It's already night? No wonder I feel so tired, Miriam mutters with a large... Did she not notice that the sky's dark then?
Well, no, because we went into the middle. It got really,
Oh,
the canopy got really
I
thick, so
see.
we couldn't tell whether it was night or
Okay.
day.
Miriam mutters with a large yawn. Sure enough, when you look up, you see stars sparkling brightly in the vast emptiness of the night sky. You note how brilliant they seem so far from the torchlight of the city. At the edges of the clearing, several paths cut through the dense trees, leading away from the great oak in different directions. Only a few seem well traveled, but none are marked by signs. Braxton, too, has noticed the myriad of options for further travel. We should get our bearings before making camp for the night. Miriam rolls her eyes at Braxton, suggesting we can use the sun as our guide in the morning. I'm going to sleep. With that, she takes out a bedroll and makes camp at the base of the giant oak.
I don't like Miriam.
Yeah, she kind of sucks.
Yeah.
She's not a team player.
So we have 4 options.
Ooh.
We have determine your heading by observing the stars, which requires Arcana, Devotion, or Survival.
I don't think either of us
I've got
have-
survival.
Oh, you've got survival.
Okay, so then we also have convince Miriam to read the stars before she sleeps. That requires Empathy or Persuasion.
I don't have either of those.
Nope.
Okay, so that's not an option. We have climb the great oak to look for a landmark. That requires Agility or Athletics.
I have agility.
Okay. And then we have leave the navigation to Braxton and turn in for the night, which doesn't require anything. So
So do we want
we have 3
to
options.
climb up and see if we can find a landmark, or do you want to try to figure out where we are looking at the stars?
I think you're a cat lady. Let's get some use out of those claws of yours.
All right, so we'll do the agility one.
Yeah, all right.
So we'll climb the great oak to look for a landmark. Read entry 3729. As you climb up the great oak tree, you find a number of curious items secreted throughout its branches. There are scraps of paper covered in writing in various languages and hands, some tied around branches, others glued to the trunk with sticky pine sap. There are intricately carved statuettes tucked into crooks in the tree's burrows or strung from the leather cords. There are small clay pots tucked into holes. You pocket a small wooden trinket to show your companions when you return to the ground. You gain the wooden trinket, item B.
There we go.
Ooh. Since you are the one who made the decision,
I get to keep it.
you in this case means you.
Do you want to read the
So
item?
first I'll read what it says. It looks like a badger. You find this intricate wooden trinket at the great oak in eventide forest. It looks quite old. A heart is carved into the wood containing the letters T and U.
TU.
Well, it's not Braxton and Miriam.
Nope.
Do we know what's the countess's name?
Regina.
Fairfax. And we've got like Celise or whatever? No?
Yeah, I don't think we have a T or a U.
Alright.
Okay.
Leaving the other objects as undisturbed as you can manage, you climb from the thick, sturdy branch to thick, sturdy branch until you find yourself in the upper burrows of the tree. Moving more cautiously lest the thinner branches give way beneath your weight, you make your way to the edges of the leaves and look out over Eventide Forest. The trees beneath you murmur and whisper in the night breeze, visible as little more than a dark ocean of rustling leaves. In the distance, you can see a beacon tower in Dragonholt rising above the forest. You are now confident that you know the way to Dragonholt.
All right.
Mark story point P3.
Nice job.
When you return to camp, you show the wooden curio to your companions, but they have no better idea what to make of it than you do. You decide to keep the trinket as a souvenir to remind you of your trip. Read entry 8549.
I don't like that it tells us we have no better idea. We should be able to
be
determine
able to
that on
figure
our
out.
own.
Yeah.
Right, you assist Braxton in gathering some kindling and starting a small campfire a few paces from the great oak. While you work, you can hear Miriam humming softly to herself. You set out your bedroll and relax. Although you're all tired, a brief chat around the campfire is not an unwelcome event. So there's 3 options. Ask Miriam what she plans to do in Dragonhold, ask Braxton what she plans to do in Dragonhold, or go straight to sleep.
And Shane, this decision must be made by you.
It's true. So we can't do Ask Miriam because it requires N3, which we have not marked. We
Also,
can
we did
do
that already.
Ask Braxton what she plans to do in Dragonholt, which requires E7.
My guess is that if you've
but-
already asked one of them, it doesn't let you go back and do it again.
Smart. Yeah, that's probably
So
the case.
I think we marked E7 when we asked Miriam, and I bet if we asked Braxton, then we would mark N3.
Having said that, my character does not want to know about Braxton.
Is you're an old man who needs to sleep?
I'm kind of old and grumpy, and I don't really have an interest in either of these young women.
Wow.
Sorry.
Shouldn't have left this last one up to Shane.
No,
I have to admit, these 2 companions we're traveling with are very dull.
I don't want to know about him. All right.
Fuck story, fuck background. Let's just get through this game.
If I were to step away from my character, I would be curious. However, I can't step away from Zadie Redbeard and his ironically black beard. So let's mark story point H3 and read entry 1096.
All right.
I hope at some point we can alter another character with an ability, and I'm gonna make his beard red.
Miriam lets out a long yawn, and you second the motion. As you nestle into your bedroll for the night, Braxton speaks up. Best we don't all sleep at once. I'll take the first watch. Can I count on you to take second? You nod your agreement and drift off to sleep. One of you must volunteer to keep watch. Refresh your activation token if you are keeping watch. The rest of you exhaust your activation tokens. So I guess all of us.
We're all exhausted.
So I think all of us were ready
Refreshed.
like right when you flipped the last one, and so now one of us is going to stay ready and the other 3 exhaust.
I will stay
Well,
ready.
I disagree. I think that we should have Ryan do it because he lost the least amount of stamina last time, and we also, if you keep reading, get to recover 2 stamina.
I don't think you certainly wouldn't volunteer as
Hell
being
no.
a brat.
I need my beauty rest.
You love naps. That's
You love
not going to
naps,
be
that's
you.
true.
But cats are nocturnal.
Mm.
Would that make you the best watch?
Jinxie cat, jinxie cat.
I think Shane really wants to do this, so I'm gonna let him do it.
Yeah,
But he screwed up the last decision so badly.
it's too late. I've already made my decision. All right, everybody flip theirs over. 2 time passes,
Ooh, okay.
and you each recover.
Everyone recovers 2
You
stamina?
each recover 2 stamina.
Here's a question. If his stamina is maxed out at 12, does he go up to 12 or does he get 13?
No, it's not called like starting stamina, it is maximum,
Got it.
so I think.
We can read recovering stamina. Some effects, like the one above, cause you to recover stamina. To do so, you increase your current stamina by the amount specified by the effect. In this case, 1 doesn't make any sense because we're recovering 2 stamina. Your current stamina cannot exceed your maximum stamina. Remember to record your current stamina on your character sheet.
Really, the rules text box has the wrong
Wrong
number.
amount of stamina. Yep.
Yeah. But maybe it was written by Celise or something. You all rouse from your slumber to gentle
No,
coaxing.
I think you, the guy who agreed to stay awake.
Ah, that's right. Okay.
Yeah. Wait,
We are all sleeping.
Still sleeping.
nice watch, Zadie.
All right. You rouse from your slumber to gentle coaxing from Braxton. Your turn at watch, she says quietly. You rub your eyes for a moment and sit up, taking a drink from your canteen to wake up. Oh, wait. You glance around camp at your fellow travelers. Braxton prepares her bedroll, lies down, and is quickly asleep. Miriam stirs for a moment, possibly awakened by the brief commotion, and rolls to her other side. A gentle silence takes hold of the clearing. Your journey to Dragonholt has been a long one, but now you are no more than a half-day's travel from your destination. The crack of burning branches from the campfire keeps you company as you keep watch. The moon is beginning to set, and you know the light of a new dawn will soon grace the forest clearing where you have made camp. Just then, you hear a rustling in the thick brush on one side of the camp and recall Braxton's warning about bandits. We have 3 options. Watch for further movement or signs of danger, arm yourself and take a closer look, or wake your fellow traveling companions. Definitely not going to wake my fellow
I was
traveling
going to say, you
companions.
better not wake me up
Yeah.
for this.
That's not what I would do. Watch.
You said we have the choice, but you're the one making
It's
the
true.
choice. We're all asleep.
I have the choice to. I will either watch for further movements or sign of danger, or arm yourself and take a closer look.
Want to keep that danger away from the rest of your friends, right?
No, I'm probably just gonna watch and be like, ooh, yeah, okay.
You're going to let them get close to us?
No, I'm gonna watch for further movement. Not
Yeah, but if you go to them and take a closer look.
Zadie's always been into watching.
I do love watching. I love watching my military history while I'm doing craftsmanship.
He just read the first 2 words on his sheet.
Yeah, skills. Those are my skills. Okay. Yeah, well, I'm good at dueling and survival and endurance. I'll take somebody on. I will arm myself and take a closer look. The best part is this does not exhaust my activation token. So I'm going to be doing this forever. All right. Read entry 1654. You grab your weapon and slip out of the camp, circling around toward where you heard the sound. As your eyes adjust to the darkness, you move silently from tree to tree and soon find yourself behind a small group of rough-looking people, lurking in the bushes and watching your camp. Bandits! Mark Story X1.
I did not see bandits coming.
I know, what a surprise.
In an introductory fantasy quest.
In which they frequently reference the fact that there are bandits in these ones.
Oh yeah, that too.
Should we have asked about them?
No.
Too late. We know nothing about these bandits. We are woefully uninformed.
All right, there are 3 bandits directly in front of you. 2 men and a woman in torn and stained clothing and scraps of leather armor. Sound like level 1 bandits. The woman holds a strung bow across her knees as she crouches, while one of the men has a spear and the other a long knife in his hand. Wasn't someone on watch by the fire? Asked one of the men. I don't see anyone there now, says the woman. Quiet, says the other man. Wait for the signal. They clearly haven't noticed you. Just as clearly, they're intending to attack your traveling companions. I've got 3 options. Shout a warning to your traveling companions, draw your weapon and engage the bandits, or sneak up on them, but that requires stealth.
I don't think you have, do you?
No, I do not have stealth.
You're like wearing heavy, loud armor, so.
The fact that they don't even see you yet.
He's
is
wearing a
surprising.
windbreaker from top to bottom.
All right. I am still.
What?
I was just gonna say I am still going to be very upset if you wake me up.
I know. Well,
I would be less upset at this point.
Fight.
Fight.
Yeah,
Fight.
No,
Fight.
What was
Come
your... Oh, you did dueling.
I'm
no,
survival, dueling, and military. So
Oh, you're in the military. I was
I'm
going to say, because the
tactical.
dueling is one-on-one, and there are definitely more than one person
It's
there.
true.
So
This would be
dueling
very
not
good for
good.
brawl.
But you have survival, which
Too
I
bad.
assume helps.
Survival's not a combat skill. Military is a combat skill,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, but that's for tactical stuff, and that would be if I were like organizing a pincer attack.
I'm a brawler. It's a shame I'm asleep.
Yep. Well, I'm not going to wake you up. I'm going to draw my weapon and engage the bandits.
I like that we just had a discussion about how your skills are not useful for engaging the bandits, and then you decided to engage the bandits.
I'm not going to yell out again. Zadie Redbeard does not back down for a fight or call out for help.
Is that calling out for help? It's shouting a warning.
Lindsay, never half-ass 2 things, whole-ass 1 thing. I'm going to whole-ass this fight.
I guess that does fit with your quote.
That's right. 7686.
He's whole assing it.
I'm whole-assing it.
Oh, it's above.
You hurl yourself at the bandits, who are quite surprised by your sudden attack. You soon fell one enemy and wound another, bellowing your battle cry all the while. Ah! However, 3 more bandits, oh no! Approach and threaten to surround you, brandishing long knives and brutal cudgels in a deadly dance. You quickly retreat. If story point X1 is marked, do this, which is the one that we just...
It is. We just marked it. Yeah.
Read entry 9943. You shout a warning and rush back to the camp, hearing bandits swear and move to follow you. We're supposed to wait for the signal, hisses one.
Just because it says hisses doesn't make them snake people.
That was the signal, shouts the other.
Is that Basilisk?
He speaks Parseltongue.
Yep. As you skid to a stop by the campfire, you see Braxton already on her feet with her shield in hand. Miriam is still staggering out of her tangling blanket. What is it? Grumbles Miriam. What's going on? Bandits, rumbles Braxton as a half-dozen of the desperate-looking figures run into the firelight, weapons held high. Braxton hefts a heavy steel shield and slashes her longsword threateningly at one of the approaching bandits. Miriam produces 2 flasks and unstoppers one of them. A thick, acrid smoke pours from its open mouth as she holds it aloft, ready to throw. 3 of the bandits suddenly rush forward, charging the camp. Miriam hurls the smoking flask, which smashes against one of their bucklers. A billowing cloud of acidic fog erupts from the impact site. The bandit shrieks and flails, dropping his buckler to the ground as it dissolves. The 2 other bandits continue their charge. One swings an axe at Miriam, but Braxton catches the blade with her longsword, and slams her shield into the man, sending him tumbling to the ground. The 3rd bandit dodges around Braxton and darts forward straight toward you, spear point trained at your chest. Well, I think we all reset. So we've got dodge the attack, catch the spear and disarm the bandit, deflect the spear and counterattack, or blast the bandit with a rune. Deflect the spear and counterattack requires dueling or military, and blast the bandit with a rune requires arcana or runes. Then there's dodge or catch and disarm.
I'm still busy going through my morning routine.
I mean, I have dueling, so I can deflect the spear and counterattack. Do you have something?
I don't have anything.
Does somebody have arcana?
I
He
do.
does.
Okay,
I
but
do.
that's not going to happen for you.
No, I'm busy.
All right, so I can deflect the spear and counterattack.
Go for
Please
it.
do. Someone take the book from Shane.
I'm
Thank
doing
you.
great.
With instincts born of long training, you brace yourself, ready to parry the incoming thrust and counterattack. As long as you don't slip up, you can drop the bandit in a single attack. If I have agility or athletics, I would read 19608, which I do. I have agility. You swing your weapon to deflect the spear, knocking the lethal point aside, and follow up with the riposte. Your attack catches the bandit off guard and leaves him bleeding on the grass.
Yeah.
You step back, taking a moment to assess the situation. Have we marked point H3?
Yes.
Then I would read 6577. As your companions do battle with the oncoming bandits, you take a moment to take stock of the camp. You see an orc woman holding a bow, sneaking around to approach from the rear, her form difficult to make out in the dim light from your fire. Soon your companions will be fighting on 2 fronts, so there's a lot of options here. Rush the lone bandit, put yourself between the archer and your companions, shoot an arrow at the bandit, which requires archery, blind the woman with a flash of runic light, which requires ruins, sneak around the great oak and catch her from behind, which requires reasoning or stealth, or sing a bardic song to inspire your companion, which requires performance.
It's my big break! And my face is on, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, you prepared.
Yeah.
Unless anyone objects, I am going to break out into song
I mean,
right
I
here.
feel like the
I
archery
mean,
is
I could
probably a
shoot
better
it.
one, but I still am
I
voting for
could
this.
definitely shoot him.
This is literally what he was born to do.
Well, not literally, but sure, why not?
Alright, I shall sing a bardic song to inspire you all.
I don't know.
You begin to sing, choosing the triumph movement from the Ballad of Faladur's Fall.
Ah, yes.
With the theremin.
Your voice is strong and clear, of course it is. And you soon hear Miriam joining in with a surprisingly pure mezzo-soprano.
Is she squawking?
Not
I feel like a
squawking.
mezzo-soprano is not a squawk
I might have to recruit her to the band.
for your band.
Okay, it says
Oh,
here.
did you
alright.
ever come up with a band name?
Not yet. He's got to come into it.
Oh, I guess that's true.
I'll
We've
reveal,
got 2 names that we don't have.
I'll reveal that when the time is right.
Oh.
If story point N3 is marked, It is not. So, otherwise, mark story points S2 and Z1. All right, the story's going to really care about our duet, apparently. Your companions move smoothly in time with the music, as engaged in a carefully rehearsed dance. Braxton, perhaps energized by your song, steps forward and cuts down the lurking orc bandit without missing a beat. You each recover 2 stamina.
Ooh. I think we're all full.
Yeah.
That's true.
Damn it, I sang the song for nothing?
Didn't help. We were inspired already.
Oh, it helped Braxton. Braxton cut down the archer.
Yeah. That's true. Okay, Braxton needed the help, yeah. 9513 is next. For Collar and Harmon, bellows Braxton. In the flickering firelight, she seems a demon from a nightmare, huge and dark and powerful. 3 of the bandits attempt to surround her, but she pivots away, slamming her shield into one and knocking her down, then slashing at a second and sending him screaming into the dark, clutching at his face. She trades blows with a large human, his axe sliding off her shield, her sword flickering past his face as he dances backwards. You notice a bandit with his hair in a long braid creeping up behind Braxton with a knife glimmering in his hand. Focused as Braxton is on her battle with the large bandit, she clearly hasn't noticed. All right, this is to Shane and Ryan to make one of you to make this decision. Either intercept the approaching bandit, catch the bandit from behind, or stop the bandit with an alchemical concoction if you have alchemy.
None of us have alchemy.
No alchemy.
So which of you would like to either intercept the approaching bandit or catch it from behind?
Ryan, you haven't gotten to read in a while. We heard a lot
Yeah.
from Shane.
I feel like you should catch from behind because you're an elf.
Do we need a skill for the...
We don't need it. On the next page, it might be like, well, do you have it? Otherwise, sucks to be you. But for now, we don't see any.
But for now, we won't know if it sucks to be
Yeah.
us.
What are you choosing?
Catch from behind or intercept? Is intercept just fight?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's basically, are you attacking this bandit from the front or from the back?
Right.
What would
I
No
could-
Name do?
I think he would attack. Attack. So
He does have the unearned confidence of
Yeah.
a white man.
Yeah, tall. A
Tall white man.
yeah. So I'm gonna intercept the approaching bandit. 5517. You leap forward and shout a challenge to the braid-wearing bandit, who's I don't know why that's important, but
So you know which one it is.
yeah, who spins and sneers at you with crooked teeth. The bandit brandishes a knife, and you begin to circle one another warily. I'll gut you like a bloated fish, he shrieks and hurls himself at you. His attack is clumsy, more passionate than skilled, and you soon see an opportunity. If you have brawling or dueling, go to 1938. I don't, so otherwise 4585.
Yikes.
We'll probably just lose stamina, I think.
You grab up a burning brand from the nearby campfire, but before you can use it for anything, the bandit slashes at you with his knife, cutting open a ragged tear across your chest. You lose 4 stamina.
Ooh, 4.
Okay,
That's a lot.
So that leaves me with 8. And you swing your burning branch over your head and thrust it at the bandit, sending him leaping backward with a squawk.
So many
Everyone
squawks.
squawks in this
This,
game.
in reality, everyone is chicken people.
Oh, I was gonna say, this is the land of parrots.
He jabs out with his knife, preventing you from following up and finishing him off. Behind him, you see Braxton slam her shield solidly into an assailant, then spin and bring her sword down on the braided bandit. He shrieks, then falls, and Braxton turns back to the axe-wielding brute without a word. Read 2004. Your companions are still locked in combat. Shane started this fight.
Yeah.
I just want to put that out there.
They started the fight with us.
Mhm.
I tried to leave you guys sleeping, but
Your companions are still locked in combat with the bandits, who swarm around the edges of the light provided by your campfire. Screaming incoherently, a scarred bandit rushes at you. In one hand, he brandishes a studded iron mace. The other arm ends in a steel hook, its metal glinting in the firelight. There are 4 options. Who's left to choose?
It's
Shane.
only
Just
Shane.
So you can rush forward to engage the bandit.
That worked so well last time.
Requires no skill. Brace yourself to receive the charge. Requires military. Flee and attack at range. Requires arcana, archery, or thievery. And protect yourself within alchemical mixture. Requires alchemy.
Well, I'll
Probably do the one with military.
definitely do the one with military.
All right, then you're going at 8310.
All right. I'm going to brace myself to receive the charge.
I just see Shane standing there like, oh!
You got a low
Give it to me!
I love pain!
All right. Bracing the butt of the spear against your foot, you line up its steel point up on the onrushing bandit, set to receive the charge. At the last moment, the bandit shifts direction to slip past your spear. If you have agility or empathy, I guess empathy means you can read.
You can like
Understand what they're gonna do.
I don't. So 49.56.
I want to point out that so far I am the best fighter of this group.
I mean, I am 87 years old.
He's about to take some lost stamina. He just took some lost stamina. I did not during mine because I had all the right skills.
You're not giving me nearly enough credit for my song.
Well, you didn't fight, you sang. You're the best singer.
I
You're
inspired
the most
Braxton.
inspirational singer.
I inspired Braxton to kill like 4 bandits.
That's probably true. So Braxton's the best fighter out of all of us.
No, I am. She is my proxy.
The bandit shifts direction to slip past your spear, catching the spear point on his hook
Ooh.
and shoving it aside. His mace slams into your shoulder and you stagger back. You lose 3 stamina. That is a bummer. Ugh. What's the sound I make when I get hit? Giving ground, you find an opening and drive your spear home. The blow lands with such force that the spear half breaks, leaving you holding a useless hunk of wood. But your opponent is now in no condition to take advantage of the development. He falls to his knees on the blood-slit grass, the other half of the spear protruding from his stomach. 23.99. You find yourself standing in a loose circle with your companions and no bandits close at hand. Even more of the enemy emerge from the trees, however, and they begin to surround you.
Oh no.
What now? Breathes Miriam. You're sure it's the first time you've heard fear in her voice. Oh. What now? Breathes Miriam.
That's better.
The bandit's leader chuckles and speaks, causing the firelight to play off the long scar on the side of his face in a sinister way. Drop your valuables and leave. There's no need for you to die here. The other bandits hoot and howl, ho-hoo! and brandish their blades and axes in the air in front of you. Braxton glances sideways at you. There are too many of them. We cannot win this fight. She edges backwards, and you notice her lean in the direction of Dragonholt. You can't have my gold. I'll be using it to start my business, hisses Miriam.
Shut up, Miriam.
Despite the bite in her words, you notice her hands trembling. So, we've got a few options.
Can I just congratulate you on not saying it like a snake, even though it said she hissed?
I know, I now have to go back.
No.
You can't have my gold. I'll be using it to start my business.
You should have said anything at all.
Our options are fend off the bandits long enough for the others to escape, requires brawling, dueling, or military, create a diversion and flee towards Dragonholt, requires deception or performance, create a smoke screen and escape towards Dragonholt, requires alchemy or turn tail and run.
So I think we're all reset now.
We are all reset. Anyone can make this choice.
I know you want to use your performance.
It is
skill.
my dream to use, even though I have 6 skills, to use only my performance skill the entire game.
I mean, I could also use deception, but I'm willing to let you use performance because it worked so well last time.
Last time it got us all stamina that we didn't need, and now the 2 of us really need that stamina. So
Shall I perform?
you
I think
shall.
so.
Okay, I'm going to create a diversion. 5280. Using the darkness to your advantage, you throw your voice, making it sound as if soldiers are approaching through the trees. "The village guards!" yells one bandit. "Here! Leg it, lads!" "It's a trick, you credulous clods!" bellows the bandit leader, but the panic that ripples through his minions is enough for you and your companions to slip away. After them! 36:45. Did I mention I was also a ventriloquist? should throw my
Clearly,
voice.
you're great. Man of many talents.
I am. As long as they're performance.
As long as they're performance related.
You run through Eventide Forest, scrambling and stumbling as you go. You are surprised to discover that you can see, and you realize that the sun must already be rising somewhere beyond the trees. Some time passes. We're up to 6 time passed. Out of a possible 8, it looks like. The narrow and twisting path soon comes to a steep climb with a rocky outcropping that rises above on either side. A large standing stone towers to your right. You can hear the bandits still coming behind you, shouting to their fellows like hounds on the hunt. But any pursuer will have to scramble up the same narrow gulch. We can, and any of you 3 can choose this, tip over the standing stone to block the path, fire with your bow from the high ground if you have archery, or set a trap for the approaching bandits if you have survival.
We both have survival, don't we?
Yeah,
You have
I need
archery.
archery.
I can fire with my bow.
I feel like I like the archery idea or the survival idea, but
It
I want to
definitely-
use archery.
Definitely sounds like this is the situation for you, but do you want to use your archery or your survival?
It's your decision.
You are the captain now.
Wrong game, Shane.
Oh, whoops.
I'm gonna fire with my bow. 5, 2, 2, 3. You settle yourself onto a rocky perch above the path and wait for the lead bandit to come into sight. Arrow knocked to your bowstring. Sure.
It means like you have it back. Pull back and
And then I'm gonna
No. The knocking, all arrows have a little gap in the back that actually affixes them partially to the
Yeah, so
bowstring.
you put it in and then pull it back.
But it's not pulling back. Knocking is just where the arrow is attached to the bowstring.
Okay.
Drawing is where you pull it back.
Soon, with a shout, a tall, dark-skinned human with a shock of white hair leaps onto the trail. He rushes forward, axe in hand, and you draw your bow. If you have awareness or willpower. Do I have either of those? I don't have those.
Uh-oh.
No! Otherwise, whenever it starts with otherwise, I feel like I already lost. Read 7348.
Man, yeah, we're gonna stop having you do things.
Yeah, I'm done. You draw back your bow and fire, narrowly missing the lead bandit. Your second arrow hits, however, and the bandit slumps over against the rocky slope. The next bandit in line, a dwarf woman with an eye patch, hurls a hand axe at you before your fourth frantic arrow fells her as well. You lose 3 stamina.
You're doing great.
Oh.
And after a few more tentative essays into the gulch, driven back by your archery, you break away, running toward Dragonholt. Read 5129. I'm doing great.
So good.
Maybe if you had a name, you'd be better at this.
That's a sensitive
That's-
subject.
I was gonna say that's like keeping him while he's down, Shane.
Whatever, Redbeard. With the bandits preoccupied by your efforts back at the gulch, you are able to gain a considerable lead on them. The rocky terrain continues to rise up around you, the trees of the Eventide forest becoming smaller and scrappier as you go. Soon you come to a sheer cliff face, only a few scraggly trees clinging to the rocks rising above you. Sunlight spills across the sky above the cliff, a promise of freedom and safety. You could climb up to the top, but it would be a challenge. The path continues to the left a fair distance, then becomes a tight switchback crawling up to the top of the rise. It would be a safer route to the top, but slower than climbing directly. Do we climb the cliff face or run for the switchback path? No skills.
I think we're running out of time.
I think you should climb this. You've got agility,
Yeah,
so
I
I
would-
think you should
I would climb.
climb, and then it may test agility.
You scramble up the cliff face, relying on the trees that cling to the cracks in the rocks for handholds. This proves unwise, as not all of the trees are anchored securely enough to bear your weight, and you find yourself dangling from your fingertips above a steep drop. You lose 2 stamina unless you have athletics, which I do not. But I'm only down to 10. Miriam isn't making things any easier, despite Bracton's efforts. I'll be fine, she huffs. I'm not the one here who needs help, she says with a nod at you. In fairness to the gnome, she's not dangling from her fingertips. Braxton makes her way over to you and helps you regain your footing. Test each toe hold before you put weight on it, she says. You resume your climb, but you hear shouting below you. The bandits have reached the bottom of the cliff. They immediately begin pelting you with arrows and stones, making the rest of the climb a nightmare. You each... Oh, this is each.
Uh-oh.
So the first
Oh, no.
one was you each lose 2 stamina unless you have athletics.
Oh.
Sorry.
I have athletics.
Oh, thank God. And then this one is you each lose 3 stamina unless you have agility, which
Wow.
I have agility.
Oh.
I do. To be fair, you were the one that needed it more than everyone else. So
I have 3 stamina
I
left,
have
so that's
7.
I
concerning.
still have 5.
finally, you make your way to the top, gasping for breath. You are safe from the bandits' arrows up here, but the bandits have already begun to climb up after you. You can throw rocks at the bandits, return fire with your bow if you have archery, smash a vial of alchemical fire on the cliff face if you have alchemy. I feel like that's always the option if
Yeah,
you're
it's
an
always
alchemist.
alchemical
Is
fire.
it's I'm throwing something that then burns.
You know one thing from alchemy.
Or blast the cliff face with runic magic. I think you have to throw rocks.
I have to throw rocks because I have no other options. So hopefully I don't die because this
I
is.
wish we could light the cliff.
You don't die, you just have to get rid of one of your things.
Yeah.
History hasn't really helped us that much so far.
Oh, but I like history. I like military history. That's kind of my thing. All right, I will throw rocks at the bandits. I bet I can throw rocks really well, though.
You probably are good at it. Those military tactics. with the rock
Exactly.
rifle.
You're on a cliff, you really just have to drop them.
Yeah. You and your companions gather rocks and begin to hurl them down at the bandits below. Some of your rocks impact on arms and heads, but even the ones that miss knock others loose from the rocky terrain, causing small cascades of scree and gravel to pelt and harass your pursuers. Driven back by a steady assault of stones, and probably just as tired as you are, the bandits turn back and retreat into the forest. You have escaped.
You did it.
Sometimes I feel like picking the one that has the skill attached to it is not the way to go.
I mean, yeah, you do feel like, oh, I have the skill, we should pick it, but yeah.
But a lot of
you gotta
times it
think
requires
about,
multiple skills, and you might not have the second one. In the
yeah,
mission.
and maybe just because it doesn't require any skill doesn't mean it's not like the best
better.
choice.
Like the last one we did, we might have been better off just like putting a big stone in the way.
Yeah,
and then...
maybe so. Had you read 9999?
9999, that's right. Right? Yep.
Yes.
As the sun climbs over the trees, you continue your journey towards Dragonholt. At your new elevation, the trees are smaller and farther apart, and at some point you have passed an invisible barrier, where you are not in a forest so much as a rocky plain with occasional trees. Dragonholt lies below you, and you can see the beacon tower rising above the trees, the sun climbing the sky behind it. You have less than an hour of walking before you. Time passes. At length, you walk through an orchard, the twisted trees heavy with fruit and propped up by weathered boards and poles. Then you find yourself on Dragonholt's main street, walking beneath the dueling dragon statues that serve as the closest thing to a city gate. One dragon is carved from black stone, the other from white, and they arch across the street above you, not quite touching. Marvelous, breathes Braxton.
Nailed it.
Some sort of memorial to the Dragon War, says Miriam. This way, she says and skips down the cobbled street as if she hasn't been woken in the middle of the night by bandits. You cross a crowded village green that is laid out before a garden shrine with a domed glass ceiling. In front of the shrine stands a marble spire, atop which burns a beacon fire. Then you pass a building dark with soot and marred by broken windows. Miriam pauses at an intersection and peers down two side streets before nodding vigorously and leading the way south. We'll get a proper breakfast as soon as we find my aunt's inn, she says. It's called the Swan. Does it have a lovely white swan painted on its sign? Asks Braxton. Yes, it does, says Miriam. Then is that it? Just there? She points, and Miriam beams. That's it. Let's go.
Braxton's the best of us.
She
really
rushes.
is.
She rushes off in a fresh burst of energy, leaving you stumbling along behind. When you finally reach the Swan, you find Miriam babbling excitedly to a gnome who looks almost exactly like her.
I'm
plus
also
20
imagining
years.
all of us with like arrows sticking out of us and like
Oh, yeah.
bruised and broken, and Miriam's just like, I'm here!
You must be Miriam's friend, says the older woman. I'm Miriam's aunt, Sapphire. It's good to meet you. She welcomes you inside, and you step into a blessedly cool, half-sunken common room where a scattering of thick oak tables and sturdy chairs lie beneath rafters strung with herbs and root vegetables. Thick iron lanterns rest on each table, none lit now, and light streams in from the tall windows against the south wall. Please have a seat, she says, your host, and you do. She says your host, I don't think that made sense. Please have a seat, says your host, and you do. We made it, says Braxton, dropping heavily into a chair that creaks under her weight. Rude. I think I could sleep for a week. None of that, says Miriam. We have work to do. Braxton lifts her head and glares. Starting tomorrow, I guess. Let's all take today off. Miriam vanishes into a back room and then appears a few minutes later with a tray rattling with glass bottles of red liquid. Here, she says and distributes the bottles. It's the least I can do for helping get me here safely. You gain 3 healing potions. Item A. These are mine.
Okay, we're all just gonna pause while you write healing potion.
Potions 3x.
Oh, you're taking all 3. I see how it is.
You gain 3 healing potions. Not y'all gain 3 healing potions. Distribute these potions amongst yourselves as you choose. Oh, I didn't read that.
Are you still keeping all 3 of them?
I'll keep 2 because I'll keep 2.
Mine
And
probably needs 1.
What do they do?
you can have 1.
Thanks.
The liquid burns your throat like a bitter fire, but quickly heals open wounds and broken bones. When you drink this potion, you recover half of your maximum stamina. You can carry multiple healing potions. However, there's only one copy of the healing potion item card, which should be shared as a reference amongst all players. Some items, healing potions included, have additional effects listed on the item card. You may drink a potion at any time. To do so, you must have at least one potion recorded on your character sheet. When you drink a healing potion, reduce the number of healing potions you have by 1 and recover half of your maximum stamina. In addition, you may give any number of your potions or other items to another hero at any time, but only if your activation token is not exhausted. Drinking a potion or giving your items to another hero does not exhaust your activation token.
So you can still give me one of your 2 potions later, and I'm very persuasive.
I could. I'm not going to, but
We should
I
probably,
could.
we should probably sing him a song and see how that goes.
We'll see about that.
Sapphire returns a moment later with a larger tray overflowing with plates of yellow eggs, loaves of dark brown bread, and a tall pitcher of milk. I hope you'll stay at the Swan for as long as you like, she says. No charge, of course. Not after what you went through to get my Marion here safely.
Oh.
Marion pours everyone a glass of milk. She holds hers aloft and exclaims,
Let me tell you.
"To new roads!" Braxton takes a glass, holds it up, and looks from Miriam to Sapphire to you. To new friends.
Aw, Braxton.
Can we drop Miriam and just hang out with Braxton?
Let's cheers.
To new friends.
To Braxton.
Just Braxton.
That's Braxton.
To one new friend.
The meal is amazing, and you soon collapse in rooms provided by your generous host. You doze through a majority of the day. After dinner, you rest in the common room, chatting idly with Braxton and another patron. Soon, the lack of a good night's sleep is too much, and you retire to your room. You will have to explore Dragonholt on the morrow. You each recover half of your maximum stamina. Woohoo!
Oh,
Back to
sweet.
9.
Oh, so we don't need the potions right now anyway.
You each recover 1 skill. Don't need it. You each refresh your activation token. You each gain 1 experience.
Ooh.
I'm going to do tick marks. Your fame increases by 1.
Yeah, so
It explains it here.
Yeah, go ahead and read that for us.
This quest is complete. Read entry 1001 in Dragonholt Village book. Going on to these things. At the end of a quest or after a particularly harrowing event, an effect might cause you to gain 1 or more experience. Experience is an abstract measure of what you have learned during your adventures. Record the amount of experience you have accrued on your character sheet. You will be able to spend your experience to learn new skills in the future. Earning fame. As you and your companions continue your adventures, you will accrue fame. Fame is an abstract measure of how well known you are to the public and how they feel about you as heroes. A high fame indicates that you are well known and well liked by the community. Fame is recorded for the group as a whole on the story tracking sheet.
Yeah, and we start at 2, so we're now at 3 fame.
I feel like we should tick mark it, but that's okay.
You know what? I already wrote a 3. We can add a tick mark to the next one.
Alright, you have now completed the 2 New Roads quest. You will no longer read any entries from this quest book. When you complete a quest, an effect will instruct you to read an entry from another quest book. You will continue the story in that quest book. Just after completing a quest is a great time to take a break. You might wish to stop playing for now and pick up from here at a later date. If so, record the entry number and book you have been directed to on the story tracking sheet so you can pick up where you left off the next time you play.
It told us what it was, right?
Yes, we are reading entry 1001 in the Dragonholt Village.
Probably the first
first
entry
one.
in the whole book, yeah.
Probably.
Okay, well, let's do what it suggested and take a break and continue at a later date. How'd you guys like it?
I liked it.
Yeah, it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
I did think it was interesting. I mean, I get that it's going to pick up later, but that we started with a letter that had absolutely no relevance to the plot of this story whatsoever, but I liked it.
Yeah,
So the next one is the book.
we're going to be in Dragonholt Village next.
Right. But that's the one that's like 30 to 50 minutes a piece.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a little shorter session, and it's kind of between quests. I think, so there are 6 quests like this one we just did that have their own booklets, and then I think you interweave the village probably between each one, and it's a much thicker book, but each time you go there, you're only going to see a little bit of the content there, I assume. We'll figure out how that works next time.
Yeah, I mean, this definitely seemed like the introductory game to introduce us to the mechanics and be like a very simple, straightforward story in which nobody really died, or lost all their stamina.
Yeah, we got kind of close. I was down to 3.
I was down to 5.
It's true. Yeah.
I was never down to less than 10, so
Well, aren't you?
the best at this game? Yes, I am.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
I know.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, we'll definitely be back with at least our village adventures, and then hopefully into the future from there. Thanks for the game. And thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, we played lots of other games as well. Please give us a subscribe and a like. It helps us out a lot. And join us next time. Until then, be optimal.